Hi, I'm James Wilkinson. I've been a travel editor for over 20 years. On this show, we're going to take you to some of the world's most amazing places. We're going to show you some of the world's best hotels, bars, restaurants, galleries, and much more. Today, we're in New York City. If you want to find just about everything in one place, this is it, the one and only New York City. The cultural, financial and media center of the world. It's no wonder 61 million travelers come here every year. One of the great things to do in New York is a helicopter ride over Manhattan, and we're going to take a journey now with the team from Heli NY. You can choose from quick 12-minute flights or 30-minute tours over Manhattan. And the ride highlights many of the city's most recognizable landmarks, from the Statue of Liberty to the Rockefeller Center. But if you want to view Manhattan while keeping your feet firmly on the ground, there's another option, and it's 70 floors high. One of the greatest landmarks in New York City is Rockefeller Center, and we're joined at the very top of the rock on the observation deck with Chris Hayward from NYC and Company. And Chris, one of the greatest attractions in New York, isn't it?
It really is quite spectacular. Atop the top of the rock observation deck at Rockefeller Center, it's a must-see attraction in New York, offering spectacular views of both Central Park and the Empire State Building and the city beyond. It's really incredible.
Are you quite excited with all the new product that's coming on at the moment in terms of attractions, hotels, bars, restaurants, galleries?
Absolutely. It's incredible what's going on throughout all 5 boroughs of New York City, and there's been so many new developments and new openings that we've been calling this the new New York. And if you haven't been here in the last year or so, you're really missing out. There's been so many new developments and opportunities for people that are either first-time visitors or repeat travelers.
And what are some of the exciting things going on, Chris? What are some of the must-dos in New York right now?
Well, aside from being here at Top of the Rock, I would definitely recommend that you check out all of the areas here in the Midtown Manhattan area, but go beyond. Look at other neighborhoods like Harlem in northern Manhattan. Go to Lower Manhattan and experience the revitalized Lower Manhattan 15 years after September 11th. And then if you go beyond that, there's some new developments taking place over in Staten Island, the new Destination St. George project, which will have the tallest observation wheel in the world, the New York Wheel, as well as an Empire Outlets shopping destination. And then farther west from here will be the new Hudson Yards project, which is the largest private real estate development in the history of the United States. So many more reasons for people to continue to come to New York City. It's all about the culture, the vibrancy, the diversity, and the excitement.
We're here at the Quinn Hotel, a luxury hotel up on 57th Street and 6th Avenue in the heart of Midtown New York. Now, this is the hotel's penthouse. Goes for a cool 15 grand a night. Let's go and have a look inside. Well, we're sitting up here in the presidential suite here with the general manager, Vincent. And Vincent, what a beautiful property you have. I've walked past here a bunch of times and finally glad to be staying here.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome, first of all, to our penthouse. So the Quinn, now going into its 3rd year of operation in a historical building. And so when you walked past, it probably was still the Buckingham at the time, which really was the building that it originally was built for in the early 20s in the past century.
We're here in what was the owner's apartment.
Right.
Hotels that have spaces like this tend to be bars or other areas, like event areas, but you've done the complete opposite and gone and said, no, let's keep it special, let's have this for guests that really want to have a home away from home experience.
So the Quinn is all about one-of-a-kind, quintessential experiences, and so we thought about creating this space, which is a 3-level penthouse with 3 bedrooms, 1,000 square foot of outdoor space overlooking Central Park.
This has to be one of New York's most incredible spots for an amazing meal here on the terrace of the penthouse, and all catered by the Quinn's restaurant chefs. It's the perfect place to host drinks for you and 30 of your closest friends. Really great location from both a business and leisure perspective, isn't it?
Absolutely. So the park, of course, is the major attraction that we are just south of. But 57th Street is also known for its shopping. You have some of the most beautiful boutiques and department stores. And then, of course, we also celebrate the history of the hotel with all of the artists that used to live here, such as Georgia O'Keeffe, Paderewski, just to name a few, to create a very modern and interesting Quinn Arts program in which we have a certain amount of artists that stay in residence in the hotel, make art here, interact with our guests. But above that is really about the service offerings that we provide for our guests. The very individualized amenities from the Nespresso maker in every guest room to the Tiffany's partnership or the Bird of Goodman partnership that we have to offer our guests, which is very special. And we have a dedicated team of concierges, which is becoming more and more rare in hotels. So it's really finding out what the guest is looking for from their experience in New York and then really tailoring an experience for them.
If you look at sort of this room, I mean, it is hard, I guess, to stay in a hotel in New York and have a real home away from home experience. I mean, you've got a kitchenette in here as well, dishwashers, and it really is like it's someone's apartment.
And that's kind of what we strive for, to create this for our guests rather than a cookie cutter experiences. If you were to be a New Yorker and you were to live in a beautiful apartment, this is what it would look like. And this is what your experience would look like. And so that is really what we're looking to create for our guests.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having us today and obviously having us in such a beautiful room as well. It's good to feel like a New Yorker for a few days.
Glad you were able to do that.
Well, for the past 20 years, Leo Vermonte has been professionally travelling the world, having been to all 193 countries and the youngest American to do it. Lee's here with me today, and Lee, mate, that's quite an epic adventure around the world. Why did you decide to go and visit every country?
Well, it was just a hobby when I started, and then I just kind of fell in love with travel and culture and seeing new things, meeting new people, and kind of living out this awesome lifestyle, as you know very well. And it's one point I was at over 100 countries that I'd already visited, and I got an email saying there was this record to be the youngest to go to every country, and I kind of took a little inventory of time and money, and then I decided to go for it.
Now, what are some of the top tips that you have for business travellers or even leisure travellers for that aspect who kind of travel a lot?
Well, first thing I do generally when I get on a plane is just kind of put your mind blank. I just kind of accept my fate that I'm going to be on an airplane for 10 to 15 hours, whatever it might be, and then just go with it from there. That's step number one, is being in the mental mindset to travel the way that we travel. And also looking for deals. I've kind of perfected the art of looking for deals and not going too crazy about it. So just, if you're going to book the flight, do it and do it early, because then you get the best seat selection. And as you know, that could be some of the most important decisions that you make when you travel.
Fantastic. And we've asked Lee to take us around one of his favourite parts of New York here, and that is finding some of the best pizza in New York. We're here in the West Village of New York. Lee, what's our first stop?
Joe's Pizza, the quintessential New York street slice. I've literally eaten here 3,500 times at least. Now there's a second one actually at 14th and 3rd, but this is the original, and it is awesome.
Looks like we're going to be ordering a slice of pizza.
There's always a line here, so you gotta have some patience when you come to Joe's, especially late at night when all the drunk people are here. This is how New Yorkers eat pizza, by the way. We fold in the middle, crease. It's still as good as the 3,499 time ago that I was here.
So it's hard to find, like, by the slice here in New York?
No, it's easy to find by the slice, but it's hard to find an awesome slice. I mean, a lot of, it's like pizza's like sex, even if it's bad, still pretty good. But the slices here, there's great slices, and then there's okay slices, and then there's like, you know, the ones that they sell in like Times Square that are just utter crap, you know?
And right around the corner from Joe's in the West Village is another great spot for pizza.
Number 2 is Kesday. Kesday is actually a recent addition to the West Village pizza scene, and for me, it's probably the actual best pizza in New York City. It's one of those Neapolitan-style pizzas. You've been to Naples and Italy and Napoli, and you know how good that is, and they brought that from the streets of Naples to here in New York, and this place is just awesome, and it really took off. New York Magazine actually called it the top pizza in New York, and that's what made me come here originally, and I can actually for once say that I agree with popular media, and it really is just fantastic.
We'll go inside and take a look.
All right.
The order here, what do people want to eat when they come in?
Well, here at Kesday, everything's good. I mean that honestly. Everything is fantastic. But the go-to for me is the pizza del Rey. It's Neapolitan-style pizza. It's about 10, 12 inches thick, and it's just pure deliciousness with some Parma ham, some truffle cream, mushrooms, and beautiful mozzarella cheese. It is as good as it gets, and they serve it perfectly with this fluffy crust. It's straight off the streets of Napoli, right here in New York.
All right, so, mate, we're at our third stop on your fantastic pizza tour of the West Village. And where are we now?
We are at John's Pizzeria. Now, John's has been here for a long time, like way before I've moved here, and it doesn't do slices, so you have to actually sit down or take away, but it is fantastic. Everything is good. It's just old-fashioned pies, so, cheese. But the sausage here, for me, is as good as it gets.
Let's go and try it out.
All right, man.
As you were saying, you have to go the meat, you have to go the sausage.
Yeah, I mean, everything's good here. The pepperoni, the meatball, the cheese is all good, but the move here is the ground sausage. It's fantastic. I'm telling you, it's the best in the city. Thanks. You can use knives and forks, but you won't see me doing that. You just got to pick it up and go. Now, again, there's no slices here, so this is the only way to do these pizzas here. Ready? Dig in, man. Too good, right?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah. Well, there you have it, a tour of 3 of the best pizza places in West Village with the one and only Lee Vermonte. Lee, thank you for taking us around.
Thanks, man. Anytime. Really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Well, mates, I think we've worked up a drink now. What do you think? Should we go and grab a beer?
Is a Bluebird blue?
Sounds good. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Coming up next on Wayfarer, we take a walk along the incredible High Line. It's a 1.45 mile long disused elevated railway line. It's been turned into a whole bunch of gardens and parks. And then we get an exclusive tour of the world's hottest museum right now, the Whitney. You'll find about 5 floors of galleries, about 400 works at any point in time. But keep in mind the collection is about 22,000 deep. This is Wayfarer, and right now, we're in New York City. Even in a city of more than 8.5 million people, it's still possible to escape the big city buzz. Well, we're down here in Lower Manhattan on the west side, which is home to the High Line. It's a 1.45 mile long disused elevated railway line. It's been turned into a whole bunch of gardens and parks and trails, and you can literally walk from Whitney Museum, we're going to go into shortly. It's right up to sort of the Chelsea markets and a bit further up. It's a great little walk. Definitely try and get here during the week, although on weekends, it gets way too busy. The Whitney exists because of this lady, heiress Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney, and also a snub. In 1929, Gertrude offered her 500 artworks to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. They declined, so Gertrude promptly opened her own museum. And the latest Whitney is one of the best in the world. Well, the Whitney Museum of American Art is firmly one of the hottest museums in New York right now, alongside the Guggenheim, the Met, MoMA, all those classic institutions that travellers go to. But down here in the Meatpacking District, you'll find a collection of portraits and objects, and it's one of the best collections you'll find anywhere in New York. And here you'll find about 5 floors of galleries, about 400 works at any point in time. But keep in mind the collection is about 22,000 deep. So there's going to be no shortage of that going forward in the future. So every time you come back here, like I do quite often, you're going to find something new, something different, something exciting. Spend a few hours here, then go downstairs and have lunch at Untitled, one of the best restaurants actually down here in the Meatpacking District. Now to the always hip Greenwich Village, and we meet a hotel owner who's shaking up the scene. New York is full of hundreds of beautiful little boutique hotels all throughout the city, and we're in one of the real hidden gems here, which is the Walker Hotel in Greenwich Village. I'm here with the owner, Atit, and mate, we were just having a bit of a chat. Mate, there's some beautiful hotels coming to this part of New York, but mate, this is your baby.
This is a beautiful hotel. It's meant to evoke a historical Greenwich Village, and the details are, from the ceilings to the flooring to the tables. I mean, we're all very carefully thought through, so that it gets that sense of, hey, it could have been here 100 years ago.
Now, you've created a new collection called the Walker Collection. You've obviously got another hotel being developed currently a few blocks down in Manhattan as well. Tell us a bit about the collection.
Yeah, the collection is a neighborhood collection. Every experience is a little bit different, but it's supposed to be local, so everything we get is local. The food that comes from here is at Union Square Market. Chef goes 4 days a week to go and collect the food. The soap we have is a soap that's been used in Greenwich Village forever here.
Now, you cross between two markets very well, business travel market, leisure market, and you obviously cater to both really well with your styles of properties. Is it a challenge for you to make sure that you are sort of in the middle of those two markets?
We haven't had a challenge with that, because what I think with the new guest experience today is that both business and leisure kind of expect the same thing. People want, a great bed, great water pressure, great breakfast, great dinner, great cocktails, and even if you're on business, you want all that stuff too.
Yeah, now we're in the Society Cafe, which you've just done a great renovation on. What's the kind of concept you're doing here, and what can we expect at the new hotel?
Yeah, so the one here is an elevated, call it farm-to-table, elevated American experience. Our chef, Chris Zabita, is an incredible chef, a Michelin-trained chef that's just has incredible experience, and the food is delicious. And he's the one who goes personally to the market to collect the food. Our service isn't, our loyalty program isn't points-based, it's just service-based and it's experience-based. I mean, really, the folks that stay at this hotel are pretty incredible folks, generally. And the reason they come back is that we remember your name, we'll remember what you like, we remember what you ordered at the restaurant. It's a personalized experience, it's your hotel. And that's really what we're getting. We're not a franchise. We don't want to open up 100 of these. It's a really dedicated service to the neighborhood and to the guest. And really that's what our focus is going to be. I think when you're coming here, you want that kind of special experience. You want to be treated well. You want to have a New York experience. And so we are a neighborhood hotel brand. And that's kind of what we've been focused on.
Well, mate, thank you so much for your time today, and great to see again you're putting so much passion into this hotel.
Thank you. Great to see you too.
Coming up, the downtown hotel with all the amenities that business travelers will love. Welcome back to New York City, and you're watching Wayfarer. Well, we're here at the luxurious Conrad New York Downtown. We're here with Robert Rectorman, the general manager, and Robert, we're in a really beautiful hotel here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Been around, we're saying, for about 4 years now.
We've been open about 4.5 years now here in Lower Manhattan.
What are some of your highlights of this property?
You know, we're an all-suite property. We've got 463 suites, some of them overlooking the Hudson, with views of the city. We've got a tremendous amount of meeting space, so we're very good for groups and social functions. Wonderful service at the Conrad brand. I think most importantly right now, the story is really what's happening to Lower Manhattan and how we fit into that. Lower Manhattan has evolved tremendously in the last 5 years with the development of the World Trade Center, the Oculus, Brookfield, Westfield, so there's fantastic shopping down here. There's a leisure component, there's residential, steps to Tribeca. So it's really, as opposed to being what was known as the financial district, now it's really just part of Manhattan. The location here in Lower Manhattan is just phenomenal right now, and I think it's so up and coming, as opposed to staying in Times Square, which is, you know, a little bit tight and compact right now.
And very contemporary rooms, obviously well suited to both business travelers and leisure as well.
We've really designed the room to be very comfortable for both. You've got a lot of space. You've got 430 square feet minimum, which is huge for New York standards. It's a very comfortable, livable, you know, almost residential feeling room, and people really do love it. With great options for families, we've got pull-out sofas. It's a suite, which again, for the value in New York, you just don't see anywhere else.
And very art-driven hotel. We've got a very unique artwork right smack bang in the middle of this
Our loopy-doopy here
lobby.
is the centerpiece of our lobby, and we've got well over 2,000 or 3,000 pieces of artwork throughout the hotel and through the rooms. So, you know, visually, it's very appealing to a lot of people as well.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a pleasure.
On the next episode of Wayfarer, Paris, the City of Lights. Well, welcome to the luxurious Hotel Le Maurice here in Paris. It's on Rue de Rivoli opposite the Tivoli Gardens. Le Bon Marché, one of the most exclusive and luxurious department stores in all of Paris. Welcome to the luxurious Shangri-La Hotel here in Paris. We're in Paris, and this is Wayfarer.